Heyo, Outliers. Welcome back to the Outliers Edge podcast. I'm Niiamah Ashong, and today I am joined with our outlier, Chelsea Williams. And if you haven't yet, go back to watch part one of our conversation with Chelsea. She's a money whisperer, and we get to see what that actually entails from someone who is absolutely passionate and gifted in what she does. And when I say gifted, I mean like she's built her gifts over time. Like you didn't even know this existed until like halfway through. Well, whatever. We'll get to it. Just listen to part one. It's amazing, and I love to go through conversations, seeing like the impact that it has on me. And we got done, and I was like, whoa, that was really working on me. So enjoy part one. Now we're gonna dive into something else. We're gonna go in and play as the outliers that we are, and walk into like unknown territory, the things that we're still building out together. And so we'll play that out however it is. Chelsea, one of the things I want to say, we talked a little bit before we got on here, but one of the things I want to say is like, I just want to jam with you, whatever that looks like. So it might be back and forth. It might be one like you like it just let's just keep it natural because we have a really good thing going on already. All right, cool. Um, I do want to put in some things here to help me show up for you, right? And the first one is that I'm going to hide nothing and hold nothing back in this conversation. You good with that?
Do it.
All right, cool. Second thing is that I'm here to serve you rather than please you. You good with that?
Okay.
All right. And then the third thing is that life-changing conversations is what I have. I feel like it's the same thing you have going on. And at this point in my life, I'm like, anything less than a life-changing conversation isn't worth it. Are you open to this being a life-changing conversation?
That is one of my mantras in my journal. Yes. If it is
Oh,
not big energy and growth, I don't want any parts of it.
all right, awesome. So let's play from there. If this was going to be a life-changing conversation and big energy and growth, like where would we need to take this part of the conversation?
Yes. Okay. So let's do this. And I don't know about you. Maybe you can make me feel a little less like I'm standing out on a ledge here, but
Yeah.
have you ever gotten to this place in your business where you're creating something just completely new and different than what you have been offering before? And like that imposter syndrome starts over all over again, even though you've done
Absolutely.
this thing and
Yeah.
built this thing.
Yeah. Is that where you are? Yeah. So like I feel it right now with this podcast. I'll be honest, like this is something where like I've been podcasting on and off for 10 years, and like I'm still coming in here and like being like, all right, will people be open to this style of doing it, right? Because I see everyone else, like I can have a very safe interview conversation. I can be very like conversational, it can feel right. But like you've seen it, like you've seen me, like you've actually been on like outside of the recording, like I've been in like my discomfort a lot around it. So like there are other things that are going on, but I feel like I'm living it right now with this current approach. What's coming to you as you're bringing that up?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's good to know because as outliers, we have to be okay with being uncomfortable, right? And I
Yeah.
think that for me, it was a wake-up call because I thought I had all this stuff figured out, So to be standing in imposter syndrome again was just so, crazy to me. But that's what we're here for. We're here
Yeah.
to be uncomfortable and we stay because that's the only way that we grow. And so for me, it is a new program that we just launched, brand spanking new. Um,
Congratulations.
and it came together so organically. Like the way that it came to me was after, we've been in business for almost 10 years now. And it took all of this time and experience and growth to get to the point to where I could see the vision. Because I knew I wanted this type of offer, but I had no idea what it looked like or what we should include. Um, and so what we've done is we've created a CFO program. And it is a 12-month program where you get most of the gems within that first 4 months. So like we're grinding for 4 months because people see 12 months and they're like, oh,
Yep.
12 months of this gross stuff. I don't want to do that, right? So we get the beef of it out of the way, but it's also the most valuable thing. And then the rest of it is kind of quarterly touch points. But the purpose of the program is so that we can educate business owners on how to be the CFO of their business and their life. Like
Mm.
I wanted to create something that could duplicate my expertise in the most like efficient way possible. And so like taking my almost 20 years experience, almost 10 years, in my business space, for me, this is like a college degree in a few hours over
Yeah.
12 months, right? That pays dividends.
Yep. Yep. What's leading to the imposter syndrome for you on this year? Because like, I mean, we were just talking here, and I'm like, from the standpoint of how do I say it? You even just said it, like 10 years of experience, 20 years of being in this thing here. Like it all feels like it would all be there. So I'm curious about like what feels different about this offering than all the other ones that you've done before, or like where's the imposter syndrome living for you?
It's different. Because I'm an accountant in my mind and part of my
Yeah.
mind. So it's very like calculation formula. So this package has built in more value pricing than our other services. So it's a different way to price.
Okay.
And that makes people more nervous when we're not pricing based on the input. We're pricing based off the value that people actually get. Um, and it's our highest offer. Like we've never asked people for this much money up front and at once.
Yep.
And so going into and where we're at with it right now is I'm really trying to fine tune how I'm selling this to people. What am I saying? How am I communicating the value without going over their head and speaking a language that they don't, but also helping them understand everything that it includes without overwhelming them? Like it's all just unorganized at times.
What is the value there? And for me, I'm almost like, what's the distinct value? Like I really respect you, right? And I get that you have a ton, like you have a ton of back experience, and you do have a way of expressing and explaining things that like most people would shy away from and make us like actually eager to do it, right? So I'm curious about like what's the distinct value that people get with this like CFO program that they don't get like with what you normally offer.
It's everything wrapped into one.
Okay.
It is everything. So on our part one episode, we talked about like defining the goal, hitting the mark. What is the mark? Exactly. So within this program, we identify the mark, we identify all the phases, we bring in the key financial players, and we are proactively managing every financial aspect of their business.
Mhm. Mhm.
And by the end of it, I want them to be the CFO of their business and life. So they can graduate the program or they can delegate to us. But like I said in part one, like I believe that people need to know this, even if they're not the one doing it for their business.
Yeah. Can I ask you, what do you when you say be the CFO of your business and life, what does that mean to you? What does it mean to you to be the CFO?
It means that you are directing your finances and you are unlocking your earning potential. You're holding yourself accountable to financial boundaries, aka a budget, right? And why that's important. And you're directing it. You know where you're going, you're taking the steps and you're shattering those mental blocks that keep all of us from making more.
And like are like at the end of the program, are people like going to actually like do the accounting like as well? Like is it like okay, by the end of this, you should be able to do your own accounting? Or is it like, hey, by the end of this, like you're going to be able to um be high level enough to direct where things go. You can still bring in other people to support you and so forth, but you are going to like can you help me see what the distinction is there?
Yeah. So they're not learning about in the weeds
Okay. All
with
right,
this
cool.
program. So this program is only for people who are already to the points where they're delegating the doings of the things that produce the valuable reports for them. All of that
Got
is
it.
delegated. Yeah.
Yes. All right, cool. And so like there's something in there around like it feels really important when you say like CFO. Like for me, when I think CFO, like I have my own like definitions of what that is. You
I'm
know what I'm
curious to
saying?
hear those.
Yeah, I think when it comes to CFO, like because I haven't been a CFO, and so when I think about it, I'm like, all right, I need to know all the different functions of finance. I needed to understand like how like I actually think about like actually being in the position, running the finance like arm, like feeling like how do I go bring in more funding? Like actually doing like being hired to do that as opposed to yeah, like that's I think anything outside of that would be it'd be like opposed to that, you know. So that's what I'm actually thinking about when you say that. Like, like is that in alignment? I don't think that's what you're trying to do. I don't think you're like, hey, I'm going to teach you how to be a like the next stage of your career is to actually be hired as a CFO. There's something in between that I'm missing right now.
Yeah, no, and that's where I cut the fluff,
Mm,
because there are very specific things that business owners can monitor and stay 10,000-foot view without getting into the weeds to make sure that their ship is on course.
yeah.
And so it's just those very specific, nothing you don't need, but everything you do.
Got you. So if I'm hearing here, then it's like as a business owner, I come in here and like I will like know it's almost like I'll know where like I'll know how to know like where the bodies are buried. Like I'll just like I will understand my business and be able to take direction of my business from a financial standpoint
Yes,
from then on going forth. And it's not even like I have to like wait for someone to say it. It's like I can look at things and be like, that feels off. That's telling me something that it shouldn't be telling me based on where we are. Am I getting closer
that's what
to
it
what happened?
is.
Yeah,
That's what it
got
is.
you.
It's like KPIs.
Yeah.
KPIs are there because they're the needle movers of our business. And when they're not moving in the direction that we want them to move, we know to go in and look a little deeper. Right. And the
You know,
CFO for business and life is because, again, like we're working towards something. So even like touch basing with your retirement planner twice a year to make sure that their software is updated. So you know exactly what year you can retire and what you need to do every year in between. Like it's all the way through to completion and managing the rest of your financial journey.
awesome. 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 Um, so there's something here that comes up, which is like, congratulations on the imposter syndrome. Thank you, by the way, because just so you know, I'll tell you why I'm asking some of the questions I was asking, and then I will be mindful of your time. We're coming up on our time here, so I want to be good with that. Part of the reason I asked that is because in part one of the conversation, I got that the people who work with you get transformation. It's not just like they get accounting. So there's a lot of things where I'm like, there's mindsets and other things that are being incorporated in there, even like looking at the goals and so forth. So it's like it feels like you really empower them to be able to do a lot with like already. So I was listening, like in this case, I was like, okay, so that's what I was saying, like, what's the distinction? Because I take it that you do this with people to some capacity as it is. And so I'm like, oh, okay. And hearing what you're saying here, I feel like it's far more, it's more equipping them with the tools to continue doing it on their own from there. And and that's why I'm looking for those distinctions. I don't want to accidentally misrepresent what you're doing or to think about it incorrectly. So like, in what places am I missing it? And then like, I'm going to pull out in a different way.
And that's kind of the struggle right now, honestly,
Okay.
and where some of this is coming from. It's because like, how do you quantify and efficiently communicate so that people understand what they're getting? It's like,
Yeah.
not only do we have a bridge in language and communication, but it's all unknown. Like, how do you define and clarify the unknown in a way that gives them all the tools that they need for the rest of their career?
Yeah. It's interesting to me because it's like, uh, what's fun for me is I'm like if you hadn't framed it as like, how do you do it? I don't know if I would have like entered the frame as like, oh, this is like a difficult thing. Mainly because you're really gifted at bridging that gap, right? And I feel like there's a couple different things that I'm wondering, like, if I was going to buy this based on my understanding of it right now, like what is it that I feel like I'm actually buying, you know? And there's the ongoing, like, I have peace of mind because I'm working with you already. Are these people who are working with you that are going to continue on to like a higher level, or is this going to be people that have never worked with you and it's going to be the first thing that they do?
Hmm.
Do you
Yes.
know? Yeah.
So as of right now, it's the people that have worked with me previously.
Yeah.
But this is that new space where we really want to get this into the hands of people that have never worked with us before.
Got you. Yeah, I look at this and like, okay, one, I'll be able to like find like build out the teams, be able to like have like the utmost confidence in like what's taking place inside of the business, but also that element of continuing to tie in my future with this year. Like, I think I get that like you're packaging what you do with people like throughout the course of working with them into an actual program that where they can actually like learn it in a like a more organized fashion, and be able to have access to each of the different resources and tools along the way, while also being like supported with these quarterly checkpoints to build upon there. Um, it's I think I get what I get the thing for me is like, oh, you always do this thing. It's just another version of this. It's a different package of what it is that what you've been doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so we'll do this here. Like, let's end the conversation here right now. I did want to just say, like, I'm glad that you're taking on like that you're feeling imposter syndrome on it. I literally am like, most people are like, how do we get rid of it? I'm like, no, like if you haven't been feeling it, then you've probably been like you haven't been playing big. You haven't been growing, because that like it only shows up when there's a growth element there. My take on what it is that like some of who you are being is so strong, and what you like the way that you deliver to people is already so strong, that I feel like there's a, without getting into like the true specifics, I think there's a lot of what you have that will already carry itself through. I hear what you're saying, like, hey, I'm trying to figure this out. And it's almost like, to me, it's like I feel like you're looking for the starting line and you're already in the middle of the race, you know? Like I'm just not sure if like that issue, like if that's the actual issue, just based on, and maybe I just had this incredible experience working with you in this space, but that's also why I was like, who's this going for? Because I'm like, if they get you and they know what you're doing, then what you've now just laid out is, rather than me just doing the work with you, like I'm now going to keep empowering you to be able to do the work yourself and be able to carry this forward, maybe even bring it in house at some point or something like that, if you understand the underlying fundamental principles of it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that may very well be true. And that's why, like, I mean, we got to be willing to bounce stuff off of idea and come from, or stuff off of people, and come from a place of humility and stand in our imposter syndrome and feel it. Because I mean, the vision, and I can feel it around me, like it's blurry.
Mm.
If I could get myself out of that and just, but that's why we keep circles, with like minds. So I appreciate that.
And I appreciate you trusting me to be in here. Like I said, like I'm not like, I don't need to do anything performative. Like I just need to, like I just want to give you some space to be able to hear about it or see it from like a different perspective and just bounce it off. Right. Um, there's more to come. I'm excited for you, like legitimately. And I'm grateful that you trusted me to play this game and you decided to play here. All right.
Yeah, it's been fun. Thank you.
Thank you.